If you have back pain from an L4, L5, or L5-S1 disc bulge or herniation, you need to avoid these 5 stretches at all costs. Now, if you're new here, my name is William, and I teach people just like you how to overcome years and years of chronic low back pain without drugs or surgery by changing their mindset, improving their movements, and building smarter strength. If that's you, you're in the right place. If you've been following my content for any period of time, you've probably heard me say a few times that stretching is probably one of the worst things you can do for a chronic back pain situation. Now, I ruptured my L5-S1 disc and was diagnosed with degenerative discs over 15 years ago. And for years, I spent them stretching muscles that were always tight, always locked down. My QLs, my lats, my glutes, my hamstrings, my quads, everything was responding to this chronic cycle of pain that I was in. And the stretching was just making it worse. Now, I'm not saying that all stretching at all times is bad, but if you're trying to get lasting relief and you keep stretching and stretching and it's not working, make sure you're not doing one of these 5 exercises. The first one is a very common yoga type of position, and that's a knees to chest exercise. I can't count how many times or how many conversations I've had with students who are looking to join my accelerator program where I ask, hey, what are you doing now for your relief strategy? And a lot of them will say, well, I wake up first thing in the morning and I grab my legs and I bring my knees into my chest, and it really pulls and stretches that low back and gets me a little bit of relief just so that I can get out of bed. And the problem with this strategy is you're just repeating the same cycle. You're getting what's called the stretch reflex, which might feel good. It treats the symptoms that you might be experiencing. But once you get up, once you get moving, everything goes back to normal. And all that stretch did was just get you out of bed. It's not gonna fix the pain that you're in. And in most cases, that knees to chest stretch is actually making you worse. Really quick, we're talking about all things stretching. Last week I did a video on an actual exercise routine, and I actually put a free guide together. When it comes to stretching versus strengthening, I always tend to put people more towards the strengthening side. And the problem is most people don't know what to do. They don't know what exercises they should do. Should I start with deadlifting? Should I start with squatting, lunging, or just glute contractions? They don't know where to start. So what I did is put together an actual pain relief routine. It's a free guide that you can get at fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. It's absolutely free. It goes along with the video from last week, so you can grab that file and watch that video along with grab that free guide, which is the actual reps and sets guided along with modifications to the exercises that I demonstrate. So if you do one of the exercises that I teach, doesn't sit with you for some reason, I teach you how to modify it, making sure the reps and the sets are where they should be to fit your specific needs. Go grab that free guide and do it instead of these stretches today at fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. Let's jump back into the video. This next stretch is actually pretty common. I call it the baseball stretch, and it's something where you're laying on your back, you have your top leg and you're twisting it over to the left while you're taking your upper body and twisting the opposite direction of whatever leg you have hiked over. The problem with this type of stretch is your low back is already tight. It's already responding from a central nervous system perspective in protection mode, right? It's guarding, it's trying to keep you from injuring your low back. Twisting the back is not a bad thing. Our bodies were designed to twist. It's not a dangerous activity, except when you're in a chronic pain loop that you're in. So you lay on your back, you hike your leg over, you twist and you stretch, and maybe in the moment it feels good, but once you get up, your body starts to freak out. Your central nervous system says, hey, he keeps doing or she keeps doing this. We need to protect and guard and stiffen this area. So you might get relief in the moment, but what happens is the pain, the tightness, the symptoms always tend to come back, in some cases worse than they were before. Now, this third stretch is actually more of a rare stretch. I don't see a lot of people doing this stretch, but I do see it pop up from time to time, and it's got good intentions, right? You're stretching some things like the hip flexors, you're getting some quad stretches, you might be getting some upper and mid back stretch as well. But in a chronic back pain situation, these types of stresses on the low back are just going to create a deeper issue, a deeper protection mechanism response, which is the stretch is just going to help with the symptoms in the moment, but the long-term relief is not going to be there. And what you're gonna find yourself doing is having to keep going back to this stretch every single day just to get through the morning, or just to get through lunch, or get through the afternoon. All it's doing is buying you time to get to the next phase of your day. It's not actually eliminating the pain that you're in. The fourth stretch you need to stop doing if you have any kind of L4-L5 or L5-S1 injury is the child's pose stretch. Very similar to the knees to chest stretch. You're just kind of in the opposite position. Again, you're putting a lot of stress on the low back. If your body is in protection mode, you're trying to protect the low back, trying to keep it safe, keep it from re-injuring, but you keep putting yourself on this chronic loop of pain. It's a cycle that you keep going on. The stretching treats the symptoms get you a bit of relief, then you go back to the point where you're not fixing the actual problem, the symptoms just come back, so you stretch again to get some sort of relief, and you keep going on this cycle. This is a very common cycle to be on. It's where all of the students that come in to my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program are at. If you feel stuck, I'm doing all these stretches, or I'm doing stretches and it's not getting me relief, or it's only giving me relief in the moment, and you need help to get to an actual solution, a program, a process to walk you through the healing process of any kind of L4-L5 or L5-S1 disc injury. Again, I ruptured my disc personally, so I know firsthand how to stay off the operating table, how to put down the medication and actually heal myself naturally. If you need help, you can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. That'll give us an opportunity to actually have a conversation, at least around your situation, to determine whether or not I can actually help you. Because right now, just off this video, I have no idea who you are or what you're struggling with, but a simple conversation can lead us to a really easy solution for you. Just go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. The fifth and final exercise that you need to stay away from is hanging upside down or hanging from a bar in general. Now, there is some videos out there that I've done in the past that are probably one of the most hated videos on the internet when it comes to back pain and inversion tables. I am not a huge fan of inversion tables. I know they have helped some people overcome some minor symptoms, but they find themselves getting back on it on a daily or weekly basis just to keep that relief. So that is not the definition of long-term relief. That is the definition of maintenance, living based off of your symptoms and applying band-aids to your body in hopes of getting through the day or getting some sort of relief in the moment. The problem with this concept of hanging, the traction concept that you're trying to implement, which is a very real thing. I had traction done for my ruptured L5-S1 disc, and the idea makes sense, right? You want to pull some things apart. If you have a herniation or a bulge, this is going to introduce maybe some more space in hopes of the disc herniation or bulge going back into more of a safer place and off of maybe your sciatic nerve. The problem is simply pulling your spine apart is not going to fix the problem. Back pain, bulges, herniations are a systemic issue, right? It's something that you have to look at from a lifestyle perspective, a movement perspective, a strengthening perspective. It's not because you've got too much gravity on your body and your body can't handle it. That is the easiest way to give someone way too much money to convince you that, okay, hey, there's too much gravity on you. We're gonna pull this apart and hopefully it's gonna fix itself. No, because when you get off the inversion table, when you get off of that bar, you feel good in the moment, but guess what happens once you jump off that bar, that machine? Gravity kicks back in. Now you have all that pressure back on this disc, and if whatever short-term change you created by hanging from a bar or hanging from an inversion table, it's all gonna go back to where it was before you got on the inversion table. To change the body from a structural perspective, right? To lengthen tissues, to lengthen ligaments and tendons and all the supporting structures around the disc takes way more than a 5, 10, 15-minute session hanging from a bar or an inversion table. And what's happening, what tends to happen for the majority of people that I work with who did not have success with the inversion table is their low back is in protection mode. I've been using this theme throughout this whole video with each one of these stretches. When your body's in that protection mode, you pulling on these tissues creates a triggered to protect and to guard and to clamp down to create more stiffness. So sure, you can stretch these muscles in this stiffened state to get that stretch reflex, which also feels kind of good when doing it. But what happens is once your body comes back down, it's starving for stability, and all you've been focusing on is creating an unstable area for it to heal. So what it's going to do is create more stiffness, more tightness, and create more of a chronic loop that you seem to can't get off of, that you find yourself stuck on. I once believed that hanging from a bar, popping my back, twisting, and doing all these types of movements is exactly what my low back needed to get to the point where it could heal, but all I was doing is making my situation worse. It wasn't until I made some very strategic changes, gave up some old habits, incorporated new habits, that I really started seeing lasting relief, which means I could do less to my body to see more relief. That's what you want to be working towards when it comes to getting over years of chronic back pain. Now, if you have any kind of L4-L5 or L5-S1 injury, you maybe have had a fusion or you've had a discectomy, a laminectomy, and you're still dealing with chronic pain. Your doctor's saying, hey, there's not much we can do. You've done PT, you've done acupuncture, you are on ice packs and heating pads every time you have a flare-up. Your pain is very inconsistent. You can't seem to get control. If that is you, you're not hopeless. You just haven't been given a good strategy to gain control over the chronic loop of symptoms that you're in. This is literally what I do on a daily and weekly basis inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program. You can see more information at fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. That'll give us an opportunity to have a very simple, short conversation around your unique situation and whether or not what I do can actually help you. So if you are stuck, if you've been applying stretches, applying exercise, applying PT routines over and over and over, and you're tired of doing the same old thing, getting the same old results, you've got to change the way you are approaching things. And that is an old way of looking at chronic back pain. There is a new way. There is a more functional, a more systemic way that you should be doing, and it's what we do every single day. You can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. We can have that conversation and we can determine whether or not I can actually help you. Before you run, make sure you go grab that free pain relief routine, which is not involving stretching and focusing on movement and strength. You can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/routine to grab those exercises, the modifications to those exercises, along with the reps and sets that you should be doing to make them work for you. Go to fitnessforbackpain.com/routine. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode.